Good afternoon, everybody. This is Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. Today, I am joined by all-around sports player. He played for LSU. He played for the NFL. He played for the MLB. Josh Booty, how you doing today,
Man,
buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm glad I could join you and talk a little sports and hang out today, brother. How you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. Can't complain. Can't complain. But before we get into your sports journey, I would love for you to give my viewers some words of encouragement.
Yeah, man, especially during these COVID times. I kind of got into the PPE business myself. I'm in healthcare a little bit. And, I'm telling you what, it's not an easy subject to deal with. The whole world, is really had to take a back seat and not be as active as normal. But I still suggest getting out and doing, active things as much as you can, even if you're social distancing or whatever. I mean, this morning I got up and did a hard run or as hard as I could go. I'm 45 now, so the sprints aren't the same as it was when I was in college. But just get outside and do something for yourself, kind of clear your mind. And so many people are stuck inside, and I guess just to encourage them to get out and do something and enjoy some of these beautiful fall days that we're having. I know we're going into the winter, so it's very cold in some places. I'm lucky to be down in Florida, but I would encourage people to get out and do something active as much as they possibly can to keep their mind right. It gives you some balance.
Amen to that. So how have you adjusted since the pandemic and with your lifestyle?
Yeah, I've been able to shake and move a little bit more than most. I guess being in the South, Florida's a little bit more open than most. I spend a lot of time in Texas. I go to Texas this Wednesday to see my family in Dallas, so it's a little easier to move around. I spent probably the last 12 out of the last 13 or 14 years in California, and they have different rules and regulations out there, so it's a little harder to go and do everything that you'd like to probably do. But I haven't spent much time there. I've been traveling too. We were able to donate over 1 million masks to different cities needy people in different cities that needed these PPE, some of the equipment and stuff. So I traveled and did a bunch of those road shows, just giving away masks, donating masks to the inner city families and giveaways and stuff like that, which have been awesome. So I probably traveled and done a little bit more than most, and happy that I could do that during these hard times.
So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to get into baseball. I know you had a phenomenal baseball career. So what started that first and foremost?
Yeah, my dad was a football player. He didn't play baseball. He played college football at Arkansas, Mississippi State in the SEC back in the early 70s. And he didn't really know anything about baseball, but he played slow pitch softball growing up, and he played all over the place. I mean, every weekend was a tournament, Slow pitch softball isn't Major League Baseball, but at the same time, it's pretty competitive if you get at the high levels. And so he traveled, and they had a traveling team, and I would always go and bat boy. And there was another dad on the team, a guy named Vernon Wells. His son played for the Blue Jays, a big time guy, Vernon Wells. And me and him were the bat boys, and we would just, we'd roam the outfield and shag, when they were practicing, and we were always around the guys. And I just fell in love with hitting and fielding and throwing the ball around when I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old, man. And so Little League, nothing funner than that. And I just enjoyed baseball really all the way up. I loved high school baseball. I had a really good high school baseball coach, and he had played for the Expos some, played shortstop at Arizona State with Barry Bonds, and he really knew the game. And so he coached me up. And man, I love learning anything about sports because I'm just – I'm a sports nut. So they call a gym rat, I guess. I just loved it. And so I enjoyed it all the way up. And then, of course, got to play with the Marlins and drafted and stuff. But at a very young age, I fell in love with the game.
So your experience with the Marlins was just great, as I would perceive, because you were very young.
Yeah.
What experiences did you take from just playing within that phenomenal organization?
Yeah, we had great leadership. Renee Latchman was the first manager there. Jim Leland was there when we won the World Series in '97. I got called up from Double-A and was on the team at the end of the year and got to experience something that I'll never forget. Even though I really didn't have a role in the World Series, I was there with the team, traveled, bench, all that stuff. '98, I started opening day, and Jim Leland really he really helped me kind of go from a minor leaguer to trying to be a big leaguer fast. And I knew that I wasn't going to hit at a high level right out of the gate, but I knew I could field at a very high level and play defense. And he goes, that's half of the game. So don't put too much pressure on your offense. Little things like that, help me, I guess, get the opportunity early and feel like I could succeed at 20, 21 years old in the big leagues. I mean, I was young when I got there, and it was fun. But at the same time, Jim Leland and guys like that really Tony Taylor was an infield instructor that we had for the Marlins. He just passed away about 6 months ago, but he was salt of the earth, played 20 years in the big leagues for the Phillies, and he was very instrumental too in teaching me how to play the game once I got to the minors, and then helped me get up through the minor leagues fast. And I was defensive player of the year in the minor leagues, and man, I had trouble hitting the ball, curveball, being selective, just really having plate maturity. But a lot of young kids go through that, and then they figure it out, and I was able to get a little better every year.
What does it mean to you that the team that you play for have broke history with bringing the first woman that is now a GM?
Oh, isn't it?
And also, what does it mean to baseball in general that now they're bringing more women into the league?
Well, it's good because, if you're qualified, you're qualified. It doesn't matter, red, white, black, white, girl, female, male. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're qualified, you should be able to go and try to get the job that you want. You're not always going to get it. It doesn't matter what color your skin is or what ethnicity or anything. If you're qualified, and she's qualified, she's been with the Yankees, she's been with the Dodgers, she's seen it. She's seen big market stuff. But when I talk about big market stuff, I mean paying players, dealing with all the stuff, the media, that you have to deal with in those cities. So this is going to be much probably easier than what she had to deal with or what she's seen from an experience standpoint in New York and LA. So I like the hire. Let's see what she can do. You got to give people opportunities, and I'm happy they gave her an opportunity. It's one thing to have a female try to play in the league, because it's just, it's physically probably impossible because men are so geared to being specialty trained athletes, and they're just stronger people in general. Maybe one day we'll see a WNBA player able to, make a team or play a few games in the NBA or something. But I mean, at the football level, unless you're a kicker, or in baseball, unless you're just extraordinary, I don't know how you could play at the men's level. But in terms of executive type stuff, I think that there's a real role for ladies for sure.
Now you played some time with LSU as a football quarterback. First and foremost, why did you pick LSU as the school?
My brother was a receiver at LSU when I chose to go back, and I'm from Louisiana. So, in the off season when I wasn't playing baseball, I went back. I had been very, very highly recruited nationally, and I'd signed with LSU to play both out of high school. And then I went to the minor leagues and signed a baseball deal. So, even in the off season, I'd go watch my brother play at LSU. Fans would pick up on that. People around the city, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, where I grew up in Shreveport, they really wanted me to play quarterback at LSU. And so when I decided to go back, I'm like, I'm going to go back and play with my brother and see if I can turn this thing around and try to help the team. The first year, we had a head coach named Jerry DiNardo, and we had a really rough year. We had a bunch of injuries at wide receiver. Both my starting wide receivers went down. And then I had 4 or 5 linemen go down. So it was very difficult that first year. And then DiNardo got fired after that season, and they brought in Nick Saban. And that was the real difference. The next year we went 9-3. So we went from 4-7 to 9-3. And then 2 years later, they won the national championship. So, I mean, I think I was just a part of that, I guess, that changing of the guard, changing of the culture down there at LSU. And we've had a ton of winning seasons between, that first year I was there and now. I mean, this year it's been rough, but you've seen what we've done in the past. I mean, we're one of the elite programs. There's no doubt. We've got tons of athletes every year on the field.
Now you signed a deal at a very young age. What advice could you give people that are just signing deals at a very young age about managing their money and having people to support them in the right manner?
Sure. You gotta make sure that the people around you are for you and want the best for you. I have great support system. My dad was a coach and a preacher. My mom was is an amazing woman. They're still together and are best friends and dated since the 7th grade. So my home situation is really good compared to a lot of others maybe. And it doesn't matter where you come from or how you grow up, or if your grandmother had to raise you, or an auntie, or maybe a high school football coach is the biggest mentor that you have in your life. I think that if you surround yourself, find somebody good to surround yourself with that you can really lean on, that cares more about you and doesn't ask for anything. And then that's who you want to kind of, I guess, get help from, get mentorship from. And then, if you make a bunch of money and you're LeBron James, or you make $100 million, now you can have some fun with it, of course, and have some friends and travel and do some fun things and have some real fun. I love social life and fun, but I think in the beginning, you've really got to concentrate on getting acclimated to having a little money in your pocketbook, or in your checkbook, and then trying to get to the big leagues, or trying to get to that starting position, or get that starting position so you're solidified for years. You're trying to get to that second contract, to be honest with you. Even guys that are first rounders, they might make a bunch of money up front, but they're really trying to get to that second contract because it's a life changer. Once you get to that second contract, you've got 3 or 4 years under your belt playing professional sports, and now you're a real pro. And now maybe you can do some of the other things that you'd like to do. But initially, you got to really get you got to have your head on straight. A lot of guys don't make it. I tell people all the time, I don't want to be long-winded with this question, but there's in the minor leagues, because you have to go up single A, double A, triple A. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of there. You could take minor league guys that never made it and go play big league guys that are Hall of Famers. I'm talking about Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, great guys. And Alex is a good friend of mine, but you could take a minor league group that never made it and go play those guys, and any single day or any given day, those guys might beat those Hall of Famers in a series or in a game, because whether you're homesick, or you got hurt, or you had to go take care of your family, or you got somebody pregnant, or you're an alcoholic. I mean, there's just so many reasons that people fall off, and never make the big leagues, especially in baseball, because in minor leagues is a lot like college, and then in the NFL, you go college, pro. There is no in between, right? If you get drafted. In baseball, there's all this in between. So there's a lot of guys that don't make it that are really, really, really good, but it's unfortunate one way or one reason or another that they don't make it. And so that's what I always tell people. It doesn't matter how good you are. You still got to go through the process. And that's the toughest part of it. It really is, to get to the big leagues and stick, and it was hard on me. And I was a 5th pick overall, what I'm saying? Just think if you're a 20th rounder, how much harder it is, so I got a lot of opportunities. Some guys don't get opportunities right out of the gate. I did. And I thank God for it.
In your perspective, do you think the Dodgers will keep Justin Turner, or where do you see him going?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't really watched that close. I like him. I think he's a gamer, and you want to keep your nucleus, the guys, especially in the middle of that order. You want to keep those guys on your squad as long as possible. I know professional sports, there's always people moving around. Mm-hmm. It's all about, it's pro sports. It's all about the money and longevity and the contracts and who wants you and who doesn't. I mean, I'd like to see him. He doesn't fit in anywhere else. I mean, maybe he would fit in Boston because he kind of got that scrappy look to him, and he wants to play for a winner. Once you've won, you don't want to go play for somebody that really doesn't have a legitimate chance to win. Boston, New York, Chicago, those are some teams where the Angels might be a good one. I mean, where they've got some guys that can bat around him in the lineup, and help. No, I like him there, man. It's fun. I enjoyed the World Series this year. It was amazing, and I really like Justin.
In 2001, you was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. Tell me a little bit about that experience, and what did you learn about yourself just being with patience first and foremost? Because I know your mind was just all over the place.
Oh, it was. When you get drafted and go into the NFL, especially as a quarterback, there's so much that goes on with learning like new systems. And so I was a late round pick in football. I was a 6th round pick. And so in baseball, I had real early opportunity being a first rounder. In football, as a 6th round pick. So I knew I wasn't going to get that early opportunity. So I was sitting there just trying to learn as much as I could. Mike Holmgren was the head coach. This is before Pete Carroll. And we had Matt Hasselbeck was my roommate there. Trent Dilfer was there. Brock Heward was there. We had a good QB room. And I just tried to soak up as much as I could, really, from Hasselbeck more than any, because he was the starter. And he had come from Green Bay, and Holmgren was there with Favre. So I knew Hasselbeck had sit in those QB rooms with Favre for 2 years, 3 years, and been with Holmgren and knew his system. So I tried to get as close as I could to him. And then I got traded to Cleveland. Never really got a chance to be there long, but I loved Seattle when I was there, and it was a great group of dudes.
Yeah, man. I actually live in Seattle too, so
yeah, I like it. I was in Kirkland. It was beautiful in the summer. The organization's good. The owner, of course, they loads of cash. I mean, we had a good team. Ricky Waters was there back then. Sean Springs. I mean, Chad Hutchinson. I mean, God, we had great players on that team. It was fun to be around those guys. Sean Alexander was there. You remember those teams. I mean, some good guys. I mean, Seattle's better now than they were back then, but they had some really talented guys on those teams.
Now we're going into week 12 of the NFL. What teams have shocked you so far, and which teams have disappointed you so far?
My Cleveland Browns. I mean, they're 7-3.
Y'all just beat us. I'm like, Eagles fan. We look horrible.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah. Y'all need to figure out a pass game, man. I don't know. Doug Peterson. It's a funny story. Doug Peterson's first head coaching job was my dad hired him to coach my dad's high school in Shreveport, Louisiana. He coached my little brother, who is coming over here right now. My brother was a quarterback at Calvary Baptist, and so Doug's first coaching job out of playing was coaching my dad's high school in Shreveport, Louisiana, and they had 3 good years together. And then Andy Reid called Doug to come up and work as a QB consultant, and then he just moved his way up to being a head coach. But I like the Eagles. I just think they're really struggling at the QB position a little, right now, and really, the passing game. They just don't have much going on in the passing game. It's not fun to watch, and I know that division's bad, but there's a lot left to be desired on the table when you watch the Eagles right now. They were so good a few years ago that it's hard to watch them.
And what exciting quarterbacks are you excited to see? I mean, we have Patrick Mahomes, we have Russell Wilson, we got Lamar Jackson, and then you got the Hall of Famer out there in Colts world out there, Phillip Rivers. Out of all those quarterbacks, who you think is actually going to make it to the Super Bowl?
I'm a huge Tom Brady guy. I know you probably don't like to hear that either. Yeah, the Eagles took one from us a few years ago at the Super Bowl, but I think Tampa has an outside shot because just the leadership and understanding how to kind of mine their way through the playoffs, and Breeze going down helps Tampa a little bit because Breeze is going to be out a few weeks, and that was a tough injury. The Saints are really good when Michael Thomas is healthy. I think Mahomes and what we saw last night, if you watch that game, was spectacular. I mean, he threw a pick going in the end zone right before half, or they would have been up, at half. And when they need big plays, they get them. Kelsey's so good. I really like the emergence of Derek Carr last night. I thought he was fantastic. The entire game, that run game with Josh Jacobs. The Raiders are for real. They're another team, like I said, the Cleveland Browns. When you ask me who's kind of surprised me, the Raiders have surprised me. Carr is transitioning into being super efficient as a quarterback, and that's fun to watch. Mahomes, there's nobody better in the business. Aaron Rodgers is right there with them, but the Colts took one from them this week. I think they're really playing good as well. It's fun to watch. The Titans can grind games out. They beat the Ravens this week. I mean, there's just, I enjoy watching all the games, to be honest, but I'm a huge Tampa fan. We got them we got them tonight, so it'll be fun.
So what does sports mean to you as an individual, and how has it molded you into the individual that you are today?
Oh, man, everything that I do is sports related in one way, shape, or form. All my network of business, my business network is a lot of it is from towns I played in, people I've met, LSU, people from Louisiana or Texas that I've met that are huge SEC football fans in Atlanta, or golf. I play golf. A lot of buddies, that I've met just playing golf events and golfing at clubs and stuff like that. I mean, I've utilized my network to the best of my ability, and I continue to use it. And I think that's really helped me. So, I take a lot with me. I ran this morning. I ran sprints this morning, and people always ask me, what kind of running do you do, or what kind of working out do you do and stuff? Because I try to stay in a little bit of shape. But, Saban, training with that guy for 1 year at LSU, really, I guess, gave me all that I needed to know for the rest of my life, how to work out and train, how to be mentally tough and go at it every day. And I mean, he gets the most out of you. His teams are like well-oiled machines, physically and mentally, and that's why they're so good. But I love to run. I love to work out. A lot, and I carry that into life.
And my last question is, what advice can you give people about taking the leap of faith and overcoming those type of obstacles in their life?
Everybody's got their own issues, and they have to deal with certain things and overcome certain things. I'm a Christian guy, so I believe a lot of the principles in the Bible, but at the same time, I think there's a lot that you can get from being positive, from waking up every day and being thankful. I don't care if you feel like you're blessed or not. If you say you're blessed, you'll be blessed. And that's a whole different way of thinking. But, it's like going back to what I just said with Nick Saban, like he pays attention to every little thing, every little second matters. And if you go about life like that, like I'm not going to waste a bunch of time on stuff that doesn't matter. I'm going to waste time on stuff that does matter. And I'm going to always pump positives into my head. And, you build on that stuff, so I watch a lot of guys that speak and do this stuff for a living, staying positive and, the Joel Osteen type of things. But there's some real value in that. It's just being upbeat. Like if you, like when we turned on this podcast, and you had a big smile on your face and you're ready to go, I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? Like I feed off of that energy. It's like when you walk into a room, I don't care if it's at the restaurant or you're at a bar or you're at a game or you're with friends at a social gathering. You walk in having fun, man. It's like I like that guy already. I don't even know him. I want to hang with him. And so you know what I'm saying? If you walk in, you act like you want to, you're ready to fight somebody, or you're not happy, or you didn't really want to be there. You create your own momentum in life. And that's what people don't understand. And you can create momentum just based on how you walk into a room and smile, because people gravitate to that.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Thank you, Josh, for coming on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, anytime, man. We'll do it again. We'll do it once a year or something, brother. But I appreciate you having me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would definitely stay in contact with you. Before I let you go, where can my viewers find your work?
Yeah, I at Josh Booty 10 is social media on all social media platforms. But I do a SEC quarterback podcast. It's on the Believe Podcast Network. It's at BLEAV. It's a huge national sports, mainly sports podcast network out of LA. And I host the Quarterback SEC podcast, and you'll see that QB or SEC QB POD. That's it. So you can find me there. I cover the national scene, but we really focus on quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference: Florida, Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, Auburn, all those teams.
Okay, yeah, definitely. We definitely got to stay connected, because when I come out there in LA for Super Bowl week, I would definitely love to meet you in person and chat with you.
Let me know, man. Anytime. It sounds good. I said, I appreciate you having me, and have a wonderful week.
Yes, sir. Definitely. We're going to do this again.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Definitely have a blessed and productive day, and just stay productive and have a blessed one.